Hello and welcome to the Greens Experience.
Welcome everybody.
Hello.
Today's topic in this Green Experience video will be warranty.
Yes, your home warranty.
Yeah. So just jumping right in with the warranty, you want to understand your warranty term or the length of your warranty. So in the first year, you have a warranty.
Yes. So if you have a semi-custom build, or it probably is the same for a custom build, but if you are building your home through a builder, you have a warranty. And so it's almost like it's 3 phases to the warranty. So your first year pretty much covers everything. Top to bottom. So that's a 1-year warranty. Then what'll happen is, for us, just to kind of give you some background, we hired a third-party inspector on our home. Now,
do it. Don't be cheap. Just go on ahead and do the third-party inspector. Get your own inspector.
Correct. So the builder will provide inspections, but you want to have your own third-party inspectors.
Right.
So
usually the builder rushes through those. I don't know I don't know exactly, but they rush you through the blue tape. So I'm assuming that they're going to just send their guy in there. He's going to look around. Oh yeah, it looks nice, and leave up out of there.
So yes, and so with our third-party inspector, we got the initial inspection and then another inspection at the 11th month, right before our 1-year warranty was up. And so what you do is you will schedule that appointment with your third-party inspector, and so that person comes through, checks everything, provides the report to the builder as well as yourself, and the builder is able to see what they have on their report. Now, with our builder, the way it worked was we had to literally submit tickets for everything. So what Pierre and I were doing, we had actually a steno pad, and so we kept track all throughout that first year of every single thing we noticed, because it takes you to actually live in the home to really see some of the imperfections. And we'll be the first to admit, while our building experience was just so-so, but I think timing is of the essence, in the sense of there's a lot of craftsmanship issues that we've noticed in our home. And I say timing because, as we know, after COVID, labor was very scarce. And so I think that had we built our home prior to COVID, we probably would not have had as many issues as we've experienced.
Well, let me break that down, what she's saying. So what she's saying is on the skill side. So before COVID, some of the skilled people in those trades were available. However, during COVID, it was kind of 50-50. And for us, because it took so long for them to build and finish our house, we feel like we got a better, they had to pay more attention because they were stretching the jobs out. However, we did notice that after everything kind of opened up, we were living in the house, the building started to expedite itself. So even when we were talking to one of the constructors, what was his title? Constructions
manager.
He was a manager.
Building manager.
He was a building manager. Correct. He told us, 6 to 8 month turnaround. So before we started our build process, they told us that they were getting them done in that timeline. But assuming that before COVID, all of the skilled trade professionals were, readily available. Like, we assumed that you were getting a better product. And then we did walk through a house where we saw the same builder, right? And we saw the quality of the construction, which was one of the reasons why we kind of gravitated to our builder. Nevertheless, Now we're seeing homes being put up in less than half the time. Our build was an 18-month process.
Well, from the moment we
That was from
signed
so it was like
until
more or less
closing,
what,
it was about
like
18
12
months, but they actually broke ground in October and we closed in April of the next year.
Yeah,
So that
so
tells you right
October,
there, yes, of
December.
yeah,
So about 9 months.
yes,
9 months. Okay.
about 9 months.
So they're shaved the time off by 2 to 3 months, depending on what you're getting done, materials, anything like that.
Correct. And then also keep in mind that during COVID and so the way it worked was when you're building, if one person contracted COVID, then they shut down the whole site. And so sometimes they would have to bring in a different crew. It just was a lot. It was a lot. And so again, I think that coming off of COVID, the years after, the building industry or construction industry just hasn't bounced back. I mean, you're also thinking about at the time there was materials shortages and things like that. So just a number of things that played a part into some of the issues I believe that we have experienced. So with this video, we just want to kind of be informative, let you know just kind of our firsthand experience, and maybe that might be able to help you if you're thinking about building a home semi-custom through a builder. Just some things to look out for that would be very helpful so that you have a pretty good experience and don't have as many issues as we've had over the last year. So we're actually approaching our 2-year mark. So we have been in this house for almost 2 years now. And with that being said, I think that for the most part we have a pretty good idea of just kind of
the issues and
things that you can come across. Yep.
I mean, anything, anywhere from plumbing to electrical to
heating and air,
which is a big thing because obviously you don't run each system, depending on the climate in your area. You might not run your AC. Or you might not run your heater. Or maybe you do. So throughout the seasons, things will happen, and it's almost like breaking your system in. So some of these things are normal. And then obviously you have settlement issues. And it's not an issue, but you just have settlement in general.
Yes.
All the materials are kind of setting in place, and things can happen. You might have some cracks in your cement. You might have some
cracks in your walls,
separation of caulking and different things like that. So all these things you want to consider. Usually when you buy a pre-existing home, the previous owners have fixed this, or the owners, maybe if you're a third or fourth buyer, throughout the time of the lifetime of the home, some of these things have been addressed. But when you're in a new house, you're dealing with all of the new things that are evolving to your home's lifetime.
Exactly. And so we actually mentioned and talked a little bit about this in a previous video. So check that out.
Yeah, I'll kind of link this video to that video, so it should prompt you to watch that.
Yeah, we talked about some of the issues.
That was a fresher perspective at the time.
But yes, so we did do that in that video. So check that video out. But I will say this. So one of the things too that we did, and we mentioned this in a previous video, is that as our 1-year warranty expiration was approaching, we actually went back to the whole idea of blue tape. So we started blue taping areas in our home because you come across things and you forget, so you either write them down or whatever. And we did both. We kept, again, a steel pad with just some of the areas, rooms and things we wanted to make sure that we put in a ticket for so they can repair when it was on their dime, not ours. And then we also utilized the whole blue tape idea of taping certain areas around the home.
It made it easier.
Yes, to identify and find those spots so you don't forget. So you'll see imperfections like in paint, different things you'll notice that you may not have seen when you did your initial final walkthrough, but depending on how like sunlight hits a wall, you may notice certain imperfections in the, what is it called? The texture. So there were some areas in our home where they didn't texture the walls properly. So things like that, we were able to have them repair. And nail pops, Nail pops was another thing that, and now it might be climate depending on where you live, but where we live here in Texas,
we get the season. So
yes, we get the season. It's hot and whatever. So I don't know if that contributes to nail pops, but we had a ton of nail pops. So that was something that we would try to remember to blue tape, because that was covered in our 1-year warranty, where they fixed the nail pop and then they retexture and paint the area. Another thing that our builder provided was, it was just kind of a cheat sheet of a list of all of the companies and contacts who we would call. So if we had an issue with plumbing, HVAC, electrical, appliances, windows, garage doors, our alarm pre-wire, and roofing,
the paint colors,
everything. So they provided this. It was kind of it's called the contractor's contact, warranty customer service. So it provided all the numbers and who you would call, because you can imagine when you're building a home, they don't use just a builder. They use various companies, and you may not know who installed your window, who installed your doors, who did the HVAC. So by having that provided to us by our builder was very helpful. So we kept that, so that if we had issues, we knew who to contact. Okay, heating and air, this is the company they use to install our heating and air. So with that being said, so we mentioned that the 1-year warranty covers everything.
Before you go on, just quick side note, they usually stick that in the area. The reason why we have ours on the original paper is because they painted over. They painted over we asked them to change the color. Well, that was a concession that they gave us, and then they painted over the original, so they gave us, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So that's very helpful. But I wanted to segue into what's covered for 2 years. So with our builder, your HVAC, plumbing, electrical, I think that's it, are the 3 areas that have 2-year warranties. The majors, yes. Those are 2 years. Electrical. And then you have a 10-year warranty for your roofing. And
a builder's warranty.
A builder's warranty, 10-year warranty for your roofing. And I feel like it's something else. I think that's it. It's just the roofing, Everything else pretty much stops at the 2-year. I mean, you have your 1 year, which is a lot of your cosmetic things, but more or less like structure issues, or again, HVAC, heating, air. Well, HVAC.
I think foundation might have an extended, but so the way the foundation works, at least out here, is the crack has to be a certain width and a certain depth in order for them to address it. Yes,
so you will have, so out here, because of the climate, the heat and stuff,
shifting ground.
So we had experience. We have some cracks, like in our garage, on our back patio. There's some cracks on the foundational cracks, and so
not in the foundation.
Well, not the foundation, but
on the ground in the backyard. We elected to get flat work, so it's an extended cement for a patio area, and then obviously in the garage is a part of the pouring of the foundation, but it's not inside the house.
Yes,
it's a foundation kind of.
So just so you know, the crack has to be wide enough for you to be able to drop a nickel inside, is what our builder told us. Because we tried to get those cracks filled in when we were doing our 1-year warranty. And they were like, no, it has to be wide enough for them to be able to drop a nickel inside. So we couldn't get those fixed, but we were able to get a lot of the work done as far as caulking and mortar and things outside the house, because we have a brick home. So they did come and fill in some of the cracks and stuff around the brick. And so, so just make sure, I think more than anything is, again, keep records of any repairs you've had to do, or anything that you would like to have. Make sure you understand your builder's warranty policy. Right. That's one of the most important things.
Stay on top of the
dates, and make sure you know, because in talking to some of our neighbors, some of them didn't even realize that certain things were still covered. And it was like, why are you paying to have a repair person come out and do this? That's covered under warranty. Like, unless it's an emergency, make a note,
Right.
And when before that 1 year expires, have them fix it. So
I would say
yeah.
put in a ticket. They call it a ticket here, or put in a warranty request for anything and everything. And if they say it's not covered, then it's not covered. Refer to your warranty guide when they tell you something is not covered, because sometimes people make mistakes, or they might have somebody new in the office. And then, like Asia was saying, make sure you keep a written record or some type of record to where you know what they addressed, because recently we had an issue with a staple. Did they say it was a staple or a nail?
It was a nail.
Okay, so we had an issue with a nail that pierced our
coil.
No, it wasn't a coil. It was the
line for the Freon.
Pierced the Freon, the Freon line
for heating and air,
which I believe is like a copper line. But anyways, that piercing caused us to have a leak.
A Freon.
And Freon works for your heating and your cooling in our system. And so that leak caused us to have multiple times where we reached out for the HVAC. Like, wait a minute, we're not getting hot. Wait a minute, we're not getting cold. And so each time we would list, okay, this is what you said last time. This is what you did last time, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. And so on this final time, it was like, hey, you guys keep coming out here. We're close to our end of our 2-year warranty. You need to address this in a way that's final.
Yes.
And so it caused us to be able to push them to say, okay, look, we're going to look more extensively because we've fixed this same issue several times. They had to go on the wall to find it.
And we'll actually post pictures of that.
Yeah.
So you can see, because they're actually in the process of fixing that. So they
Right.
did go into our walls
Right.
to try to find the leak. They found the leak, fixed the leak. And so now we're waiting for them to come and drywall, texture, and paint.
Right.
So
again,
from like our pantry all the way to our daughter's room,
they had to cut
holes
to find
into
the leak.
wall. Yeah.
So anyways, moving along from that, it's just important that you keep your record. And so you can, when they come in, when these technicians come in, you can say, hey, look, this is what was going on. This is what your guy said, or this is what you said. I think we know the guy by name now.
Yeah,
by first name.
Which is crazy considering this is a new home.
Right,
but
right.
That's just the reality. I mean,
Right.
let's be honest. They are putting these homes up way too quickly.
And on top of that, though, you are the first owner. So anything that happens, you're going to be, depending on how long you live in your house, if it's freshly built, you're going to be the one who deals with the issues.
Yes.
The first time water heater goes out, the first time, you have an electrical, and so, they're putting these houses up, like she said, fairly quickly. So yeah, they might not have taken their time to make sure they finalized the wiring on the plug before they closed it up, or they might not have had somebody come behind them to make sure that the shielding was covering the Freon line so it wouldn't get pierced, because ultimately that's what the problem was. They didn't put a shielding on there to keep the line from getting pierced. So yeah.
I also wanted to just bring up the idea. So since we're talking about the HVAC system, also understand what are some things that could void your warranty.
Yeah.
So for us, we know that maintenance of our HVAC system, that meaning changing your air filters.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, like they said that if they come out and they find that our air filters haven't been changed, I think on like a quarterly basis or something.
Yeah, you're supposed to change it.
Our warranty.
Yeah, you're supposed to change it like, I think 3 or 4 times a year.
Yes.
Every 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So understand what your maintenance requirements are, because you don't want your warranties to be voided for something that you did not do.
Right.
So understand that, and then also understand clearly what's covered. I say all that to say is because there were a few things that we received pushback on, that they were just kind of trying to say, oh, well, that's not necessarily covered, especially if it's something that pertains to like nature. Where we are in Texas, we experience thunderstorms and lightning. And I think we mentioned this in the old video where our rainbird system was blown out because of a lightning strike or a bad thunderstorm. Well, that wasn't covered because it was nature that did it. So we had to end up paying for a new system ourselves.
Especially if you don't have a lot of homes with that one in your community and you get a lot of thunderstorms. unplug your rain burst systems when it's raining.
Yeah.
Because what happens is the lightning strike will hit the ground, and if there's no homes in your community, then your rod, your copper rod that they put in the ground, I forget what it's called technically, but it absorbs that shock and then it'll fry your system.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the ground rod. That's it.
Yeah. So it's important to really, really understand your home warranty. Know what's covered and what you're required for maintenance to keep up with, to make sure your warranty is not voided.
Yes.
Let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, just like I said, we just wanted to come on briefly and just share just some tips and things that work for us to keep on top of what, the home warranty, because at the end of the day, why should we come out the pocket to get anything fixed? We paid enough for the home. Let them fix it on their dime. So even if it's something that you think, oh, I could probably fix that myself, let them fix it.
Let them fix it.
Let them do it. Because at the end of the day, one thing we did learn is that there's also things, that's another thing to point out. So you get into a new home, you're excited to start. Maybe perhaps you go with the bare basics, so you don't do many upgrades, because you're thinking like, oh, I can probably, I'll upgrade this once I'm in there. I'll do this on my own. It'll be cheaper than going through the builder. Well, keep in mind, depending on what it is you decide to change in your home, can potentially void your warranty even before the 1 year mark. So, for example, we have a large entryway chandelier, okay? So they told us, we didn't decide to do an upgrade because I was like, no, I want a different chandelier. I'll find one that I like that's not builder grade and get that. Well, they made sure to let us know that if you change the chandelier prior to your warranty expiring, then it voids the warranty. So for us, we still have the builder chandelier up because I'm like, if there's any issues, now quite naturally you're like, well, what if you put the chandelier up and then there's issues in the electrical? You really don't know unless you go to swap it, but the light fixture works because you use it all the time. But just know certain installations, things you decide to change, can actually void your warranty. Okay, so that's important to know. So there may be some things you want to upgrade and change, but it may be worth just to be a little patient and use what you have for a while. And then once you know that, okay, the builder can't do anything to fix this, now it's on my dime, then you can change it to your liking or whatever it is you want to do. So that pretty much goes with like light fixtures, which some we did change. We installed ceiling fans in our home because it was just several rooms. We weren't going to
rooms that definitely the rooms that we're using.
Yeah, so we didn't, we weren't worried about the ceiling fans per se. We were like, look, we're going to change those. But like chandelier or different things that we know we wanted to do, but we could wait on, that's one of the reasons why we decided to wait. So understand that whatever changes you possibly make may void your warranty even before your warranty is up. Keep in mind, they're trying to look for any way to not have to pay or fix anything. So if it's something they can just say, oh, you did this? Okay, no, that voids the warranty. We're no longer, because of your change, then it's on you. They'll do that. So just think about that.
Moving into the second year, the builder wants to shift the issue off to the company that they use to install. And the installer is like trying to make sure that whatever they're coming to fix, it can be billed to the builder. So, for instance, the quality control guy came and said, hey, well, if it's something that they did on their end, we want to make sure that when you just go ahead and submit the ticket, if it's something on their end, we'll get them out there. Well, they'll come out there, they'll fix it, and they'll get billed. But if it's something on the builder's end, like the nail going through the line and them not having a shield, then the builder has to pay that because it's their people who punctured it. Yeah, it wasn't the HVAC. It wasn't the HVAC.
The installation of it.
Yeah, it was the structure going around it, so to speak. So
So yes, those are just a few helpful tips. Let us know in the comments if there, or if it's anything we missed, or maybe something you experienced that we didn't think about.
Right. Share with the community.
Yeah, share with the community. That's it. And so that's why we're here, just to inform you
Right.
of just some things that we've experienced. So yes,
the Greens experience.
Yes. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, as well as turn on those notifications. We're back.
Yeah.
We are trying to kind of catch up and be consistent on our posting. So definitely look out for more videos to come. Okay? All right. That's it.
Deuces.
Peace.